muscles. Alright, I mean it's up to you how you do it, but I think that way it just keeps it cleaner and more systematic. Okay, so picking up a cup, there will be cups, there will be screwdrivers available. Obviously you might choose to pick your cup up like this, but I would suggest that you, for these purposes, you might wish to have a more sort of common grab than anything delicate with your pinky sticking out or whatever. Alright, so we're good with this is going to be your standard pickup. Alright, and the other thing to note is because it's going to be empty, try and avoid the temptation of pouring stuff directly over yourself. As you would remember, if the cup actually had any liquid in it, you would keep it level until it got to your mouth. Alright, so that's going to be a key thing to when you're practicing, to make sure you have an analysis of actually the tipping of the cup into the mouth. Okay, so for picking up a cup, it's elbow, wrist and hand. You can start here with just the arm resting on the leg, or if you want to make it easier for yourself, have it down by your side. I don't mind, I'm quite happy for it to be resting on your thigh. And so remember, so it's elbow, wrist and hand, so you don't have to worry about pronation and supination. Right, forearm, superior and inferior radial ulnar joints are not in this task. Okay, so the elbow is in some flexion. If you have a look at the wrist, this is actually in quite a neutral position. So again, when I say neutral, that means it's not particularly in any deviation or flexed or extended. And fingers, have to get up and have a look. So his fingers are falling naturally into flexion at the metacarpal phalangeal joints and the interphalangeal joints, and his thumb is held in a little bit of abduction, some flexion at the metacarpophalangeal joint and some flexion at the interphalangeal joint. All right. Remember, the key joint for the thumb is actually the carpo-metacarpal joint of the thumb. That's the saddle joint, and that's the one where all the fancy movement occurs. Right? The joint you're looking at more obviously is here, but that's the metacarpal phalangeal joint, and that just is a hinge joint, so it just flexes and extends. Okay, so don't mix these two up. This is where all the magic is happening, down here in your snuff box. Okay, so, oh, and just to clarify, this is the resting position of your hand. Okay, your thumb is at 90 degrees to your fingers, so taking your thumb away from your index finger is abduction. Okay, that's abduction. So that's adduction. Keeping it against your palm, coming across, is flexion. Taking it away from your palm is extension. And then the combination is opposition. All right, so it's abduction, adduction, flexion, extension, opposition. And with whatever degree it's coming across the palm, whether it's your index finger or your little finger, that's still opposition when you get that combination going around the palm. Right. Okay, so we've described the hand there. What I want to get you to do is just reach out, comfortably pick up the mug and take it to your lips as if you were going to drink, and put it down.
Right hand or left?
What handed are you? Are you right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Yeah, just do what's natural. I mean,
Sure.
doing something odd with your left hand that you don't normally do. Okay, so if you just do that a couple of times, you can get up and have a look around, the same thing. Okay.
Do you want me to repeat it as well?
Yes, please. So you can watch it as many times as you like. All right. Now, key things to note with this particular movement, I'm not analysing at this point, I'm just telling you what to watch, is if the elbow stays in to the side, then what you tend to do is bring the cup up level by ulnar deviating. Yeah? If you bring your elbow out to if you abduct your shoulder, so abduct your shoulder to get to the cup.
Like this one, you mean?
Yeah, so it's more sort of macho. There you go. Reach for the cup. Right? Can you see you bring it with elbow flexion? That looked weird because naturally you want to do it that way. Yeah. All right, but if somebody does bring their arm into abduction, then it tends to be pronation, supination, or elbow flexion extension that tips the cup. Whereas if you have your elbow tucked in, it's more wrist. Okay, so observe what your model does, or give your model clear instructions as to what you want them to do, because what's happening up here will influence what's happening at the forearm and wrist. Okay, so we're going to go nice and straight. So, all right, the other thing to note is before you pick something up, again, you can see that your hand prepares for its task on the way. All right, so you don't get to your cup and then open your hand. So you don't have to describe what's happening to the hand as it is travelling towards the cup. And then you always open the aperture of your hand wider than what you need to grasp. So there's going to be another transition of movement when you get hold of the cup. Okay. All right. Slowly, lovely. Okay. All right. So we've got the starting position we've already described. So the movement's going to begin. I'm going to watch the elbow first. Okay.
Just do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So elbow flexion, extension, flexion, more flexion, it's held in flexion, and then the elbow extends. All right, so there's lots of transitions there. Okay, so you need to catch every transition of movement.
Do you finish the movement when you put down the
When you
cup?
put the cup back down, yeah, you don't have to go back to the starting position. All right, trying to sort of keep them about the same. All right, so you see the flexion is static then, and we've got extension.